Welcome back to Light the Fuse Patreon edition. We're going to tell people what they're going to get.
We're going to give a little preview of the commentary.
Oh, this is on the regular edition.
This is the regular
edition. Oh, yeah. So this, if you sign up for the Patreon, this is what you're going to get.
This is what you get. You get a little preview of our commentary. If you have not signed up for our Patreon, and for those of you who are our Patreon subscribers, and if you've already heard our commentary, I apologize. You can skip through our commentary, and we'll talk a little bit at the end, and we'll have some stuff we talk about at the beginning now. And so fortunately, it's a little bit of a repeat for you, but we're going to keep giving you guys bonus content to make it worth it for you. And there's still some stuff that's worth talking about in today's episode. So, yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
So a couple things I wanted to bring up. There's that AT&T Uverse van that we saw.
Oh, we're always seeing that van.
That van has got they got like an Ethan Hunt type dangling person. I think it's a woman, right?
Yeah.
Dangling from the ceiling.
Like kind of fixing your internet or whatever. Yeah.
But they're doing a little Mission Impossible reference,
it's
right?
It's just crazy that
Is it a
it's
reference?
still going on. Yes, it's a reference.
It's got to be.
Yeah, it's still going on.
Yeah.
We've had people send us this image. I've seen this van around town.
You had people send it to you?
Yeah. But
it's pretty hilarious.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, and then there's also that we've talked about I think before, but that there's a commercial that has the theme, right?
Yes.
The perfume commercial.
Yeah, it's a Clinique commercial, which I thought was very interesting because I used to work at Disney and it was always a thing about like not stepping on the toes of a current sort of promotion or through line, and you would think we're still making these movies, maybe we don't need it because it feels like kind of a throwback. So
yeah.
I mean, it made sense when they were not making the movies, but now they're making the movies. So it's very interesting. I mean, maybe Paramount just needed a few extra bucks. Much like us, we need your Patreon money. Please give it to us.
Yes, please sign up for our Patreon. If you sign up for $5.95 a month or more, you get the commentary.
So you're going to hear 30 minutes of the commentary today.
Maybe not 30. Maybe 20. Maybe 15.
Okay, whatever. You're going to get a little taste. So if you want the rest.
If you want the rest, yes. But also wanted to bring up... there's an editor on Twitter who we follow who posts great stuff. His name, I'm going to butcher your name. I'm so sorry. It's Vashi Nidomansky. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. He posts these great little things on Twitter. And one thing he posted was the average shot length of every Brian De Palma movie. Mm-hmm. And if you look at this chart, which we can post today, the fastest cut Brian De Palma movie is Mission Impossible.
That's amazing.
So the average shot length in Mission Impossible is 4.3 seconds. And the next fastest is Carrie at 5.6 seconds. Then The Untouchables at 5.8 seconds. Scarface at 5.9, all the way down to Obsession is the longest that he has. Maybe it's not quite every De Palma movie, but it's a lot of them. Obsession is 9.1 seconds per shot.
I think that Snake Eyes is the next to most languorous one because of that opening shot was 20 minutes or whatever.
Yes.
So that
which has some stitches in it, I think.
Yeah, but it weighed down the
I'd be curious to know how this guy, if he takes into account stitches or if he counts that as one shot technically, because that would change the average for sure. Because right now he has Snake Eyes at 8.4 seconds per shot, and Mission Impossible is pretty significantly his fastest cut movie,
which is amazing because it feels sort of not slow, but it feels more luxurious than most action movies.
Yeah, and the other movies in the series. Yeah. I would love it if we could get him to do the Mission Impossible movies.
Yeah.
I'd love to know the average shot length between the Mission movies.
Yeah.
I would guess MI2 is the fastest cut.
I think so. Or 3.
Or 3. Actually, no, you know what? 3. I would get maybe 3.
Yeah.
And then 2.
Please do it.
Yes, we're going to have to bug him. We'll bug you on Twitter about this. You don't know about this yet, but it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
And then I guess that's it. Maybe we should send people on the little preview of our commentary.
So this is like 15 minutes of the commentary.
Yeah, maybe 20.
Because how Charles is feeling. And
depends on it depends on where we find a good break.
Okay, well, the rest of it is on Patreon, and by the time this comes out,
maybe more.
Yeah.
Well, this is only the end of June, so I think it'll not be.
Next month we'll have.
Next month we'll have another one, and we're gonna do all the movies.
All the TV shows, so help us God. That's gonna be rough.
I don't know if we're gonna be able to do every episode of the show. Maybe the classic ones.
We're gonna get this.
Actually, tell us. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
what do you want us to do?
Yeah, tell us what you want.
And for you Patreon subscribers, definitely tell us what you want.
And send us questions for the monthly chat and join the monthly chat.
Yes.
Just go to the Patreon, sign up.
Yeah.
And then come back after this little preview and
we'll wrap things up.
Yeah. Welcome to the first ever Light the Fuse commentary track. This is for the first Mission Impossible, and we are hitting play now. The old logo. You missed this
Oh,
logo?
yeah. I do. It's classy, and I love this music right from the start over the. I always love it when movies have the music start over the studio logo, and you hear this like marching drum thing from Elfman as a little intro. It's awesome.
Kiev, terrible title card, location card.
I like the location title card in this one. It's just a all caps,
All caps,
white sans serif.
optical.
I like it.
I'm sure.
Yeah, optical. Yeah. I love how this shot is like 2 shots in one, because you're doing this slow push in onto the TV, but then also on the TV, that's another shot. And so as the camera gets closer and closer to the monitor, now the shot within the shot zooms in and finds Claire on the bed. It's cool.
We also see the interface of the IMF sort of technology on the laptop, which you'll see again throughout the movie.
Yeah. And we get Emilio in this nice close-up. It's interesting that a lot of this movie, the lighting is pretty even on people's faces, but here, this opening close-up of Emilio has kind of it's split across his face here. It looks really nice. I love the lighting in the whole movie. I also love the Hannah in the background of this shot.
Yeah.
You see her out of focus, and this is the first Mission Impossible movie. They established this, they're all anamorphic. All shot anamorphic. This is the first one that does it. And that the way things look out of focus when you shoot anamorphic, it just has this really nice bokeh. They call it bokeh, the like with out of focus.
Yeah.
What it looks like in the background. You just see her back there in her like lederhosen, whatever that like outfit she's got on, and she's poisoning the drink subtly in the background out of focus. I love that.
Also, I think another director would have pushed into the camera or into the screen, and then you would have that would have taken over. But De Palma loves voyeurism and people being watched, so he keeps it all watching the TV. Which is really
I love that. You
Yeah,
never go inside the room; it's all this black and white monitor, which also I think helps you not know that it's Cruise.
right.
Because you might have figured that out, and then they love this. He pushes the table over, opens the door, and then we get this amazing hero shot. Ah, so good. Get rid of that stuff. I love that. And then they pull down the walls, and obviously they do this in Fallout now. They pull down the walls, which is like, I love that. They just don't. I wish they did that more in the Mission Impossible movies. And I think
it's harder because they're so location based now.
Yeah.
It's sort of hard to do this crazy thing, but they're clearly in a warehouse in this, which is great.
This is what they call the mousetrap. This whole thing, and this was all extended in the original. We have the original script. This whole moment where it didn't go into the title sequence right away. Ethan Hunt walked around with Claire and helped her wake up more.
Right.
And then it ended on going close into her wedding ring, and then it came out and cut to
That's
Jim
right.
Phelps' wedding ring, which you'll see that's still in the movie. But this just has this great hard cut to the fuse. Oh, it's so good! I love this fuse and this whole sequence. Kyle Cooper, who we're trying to get on the show, designed this title sequence, and it's so awesome. And apparently they show these actors in order of when they died.
Yes.
That's what the guys at Filmograph told us. And I think we've heard that before as well. So there's Emilio and Hannah, and although Claire does not bite it, spoiler alert.
But she
until the end.
She is supposedly dead at the beginning.
Right. Oh, this is so cool. I love it. It's an Elfman's music, as we talked about in our big. I don't know if our music episode's quite out yet, or by the time you hear this, maybe it will be. But this Elfman version of the main theme is just amazing. And now here we are, close in on the wedding ring.
Right.
So that was in the script, and meant to be a transition from Ethan was going to be waking up Claire in Kiev, and then the camera was going to push in on her wedding ring, and then come out on his Jim Phelps' wedding ring to make it clear that they're married. But you got that photo there of him looking at Claire, and obviously it becomes clear. This is the kind of thing too that they brought this back in Rogue Nation, but it kind of disappeared for a while. This is like straight out of the old show. Someone comes up and says a code. They like exchange codes, and that's how Phelps gets the message.
On the show, it's more than him going to a location and somebody being
yes.
there. This one's sort of like
technically he's gone onto this airplane.
He has gone on this airplane. But I like. So, is this stewardess employed by the IMF? Is it sort of a contract thing?
That's what we always wonder. Those people, like the record store employee in Rogue Nation, are they like low-level IMF working their way up, and they have to work this low-level job at a record store and just give people their missions until they're ready to get ahead? This is so like they talk about this. Bruce Geller, the creator of the original show, talked about how they didn't have to they were able to skip an act that TV shows had to do because they would just put all the exposition right up front. And it was like you didn't have to sneak in the exposition. It's this great way with these Mission Impossible shows and the movies where you can just sort of do an exposition dump.
And that's it.
And that's it. And you don't have to worry so much about story and sneaking story bits in a natural way.
Norman Reynolds, we haven't talked a lot about, but legendary production designer, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Blade Runner.
Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd love to get Norman on the show.
We're trying.
Yes.
He must be very old, I imagine.
Yes.
Have you ever seen a screen on an airplane like this before?
No.
No.
But I wasn't flying first class in 1996.
No.
Who knows?
Flying in first class in 2019.
This is where we see his middle name is Margaret Ethan Hunt. His mom's name is Margaret Ethan Hunt, so her middle name is Ethan. And we're always wondering about why that is. Why is his mom's middle name? The credits, the writing credits. Steve Zalian, David Koepp, and Robert Towne. Insane.
Yeah, that's a powerhouse.
You know something I don't think we've ever talked about on the show, and I want to bring up on the show at some point, and I'm sure we will, but Bruce Geller, did you know he died in a plane crash?
No. When?
Isn't that crazy? I love this establishing shot. This is so great. You could easily just get like a whatever shot of Prague and just of the city, but it starts up high, cranes down, zooms back, like zooms out, and you get Phelps walking up, and you get the title card. It's like tells the story. It's not just
and that little alleyway will come back. Obviously, yeah.
It's not just a lazy establishing shot. So this is the thing. You look in the left corner here, you see what maybe is Kristen Scott Thomas or maybe isn't. Because now you get this foreshot here of the other actors. This is what I found out from listening to Minute Impossible, the other Mission Impossible podcast. They pointed this out. And it's like, yeah, maybe Kristen Scott Thomas wasn't there because now they have this isolated shot of her by a lamp.
Right.
And maybe that was just her stand-in that was closing the curtains because they only showed the back of her head. There is a scene coming up where it's Kristen Scott Thomas and Emilio Estevez, and I think Claire's in the background. But it's possible that maybe they couldn't get all these actors together at the same time, schedule-wise. So they had to put Kristen Scott Thomas. Nobody puts Kristen Scott Thomas in a corner.
Well, it's interesting, too, because this was pre-CGI, and we've seen so many movies, whether it's Avengers or Anchorman, too, of actors who can't actually physically be there, but they digitally splice them in.
Yeah.
That was not the case in the mid-90s. Right.
This is great. This is the biggest team they've ever had.
Yeah.
In all the movies. They never had a team of 6. I really hope McQuarrie does this in 7 and 8. Like he brings back Maggie Q and Paula Patton, does a big group of people like this. It's great.
Maybe there's another team running parallel to Ethan's team too that can kind of assist or something.
That would be cool.
Emmanuel Baird. Where is she?
Where did she go? I guess she was mainly just doing French stuff, so I don't know if she ever broke over
I think she did like a sex movie.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, we could do a commentary on her sex movie.
It's all you. I'm fine. I love these windows behind them too on the doors. Like this is production design here. This is all set. I'm sure. Yeah. Norman Reynolds, we mentioned before, the production designer. I just love this whole set that they created here. It's awesome. It's just a really nice foreshot, just the 4 of them. And it's again like the lighting. It's as opposed to Fallout. Fallout had very dark sides of faces. They don't fill the light on that side at all. Most of this movie, the faces are all pretty well lit across the way, and it looks great. And it's also, I think we talked about it in the making of MI2. John Woo said that the movie's so cold. It's so cold. It is more of like a blue light for everybody, but it's just something about it works. I just love the look of this movie.
I mean, it's a movie with a bunch of movie stars in it. They got to look good. And it was, again, this goes back to this is Cruise's first production. He wants everybody to look good. And I think as an actor, you're probably more sensitive to that too. That you want everybody to look good. I always love that hand flourish that he has.
Voight's doing some great hand acting here.
Yeah. He's got his Mont Blanc pen in his pocket.
I love her delivery of that line too, though. What do you think I've been doing all morning? I think she really does a great job with that.
Suspenders were much more prevalent in the 90s. Did your father wear suspenders?
I didn't know that. No. This is straight out of the old show. This was like, they don't do this in the movies anymore, but in the old show, it was like Martin Landau would he would put a mask on to make himself look like some famous, semi-famous or some figure, whoever it is, like some dictator or whatever, who happens to look like a little bit like Martin Landau.
Right.
So like this, they cut to Cruise here now as this senator. And that's straight out of the old show. I know probably people watch this now who are younger and are like, that's just silly.
Because it's so clearly Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Well, the whole vibe of this scene, too, in the sense of them hanging out in an apartment is very much like the old show.
Yeah. I love this shot, too. This is all a oneer. Just starts close on the gum, zooms out, backs up, and then we sort of dolly left and turns into this 2-shot. Just letting the two of them play with their...
And the
play
best
off
part
each other,
is
their
that
chemistry.
Cruise is chewing gum in the scene, too.
Yeah.
Which is great.
He just goes, oh, the stairs. All the stairs. Brian De Palma loves his staircases.
He does.
Look at that. He must have just been in heaven in that location. That's the place where they shot also Casino Royale.
Oh, okay.
They did some stuff there for the Daniel Craig Casino Royale.
Is that in Prague?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's like the history museum. It's in our making of Mission Impossible 1 episode, which if you've listened to, maybe go listen to it again.
Yeah.
That's a great shot too. This is like a kind of a complicated shot. It looks simple, but it's like starts in the computer, goes down to his watch, comes up to his face. Oh, and here's the we talked about this. The first person. Nobody does this stuff.
No, nobody.
There can be point of view shots, but straight up.
Where people are addressing the camera.
Yeah, interacting with people in a POV shot. Nobody does that.
Demi used to do the straight ahead, the stationary shot, but nobody does movement like De Palma does.
Right, yeah. This is steady cam walking through a space, talking to people.
Yeah.
And you hear Cruise's voice sort of
because it's
behind you almost.
Right, it's narration, but also dialogue.
You are Ethan Hunt in this moment.
Yeah. Which is amazing.
And then you can see the other IMF team. See those two people on the staircase looking. I love that. I like watching this movie.
And then the girl on this.
And you see this guy, the waiter behind her. That's the other IMF team. Oh, I love that. And I love this little kind of not that complicated technology they use for they spray his head and it's cool. I love this this angle. It goes on the Dutch angle here while she sprays. That's so cool.
Thank God Danny Boyle's keeping the Dutch angle alive.
Yeah. It's also, what was it? It was in a couple Marvel movies. It was in the first Thor
is very,
and it was in the first Iron Man also.
Yeah.
They did a little bit of it. Emilio brings a lot to this role.
He does.
It's nice. I wish we could have gotten more. There was talk of maybe having the third movie was supposedly going to be maybe a prequel at one point.
Right.
With Emilio Estevez coming back, and that would have been cool. We got to get Emilio on the show.
I would love to hear his thoughts. I wonder if they knew that they were going to get killed off, or if this was a predetermined, you're not getting credit and you're getting killed off before,
I thought, supposedly he did it as a favor, right? Because Cruise did a favor for him.
Because he was in Young Guns.
Young
That's
Guns
right.
as a cameo.
Yeah.
So then he was come and be in Mission Impossible.
What a different time.
Yeah. I think Cruise got the better end of the deal. I haven't seen Young Guns in a long time. Maybe it's great. I don't know. But
it was very popular when we were growing up.
That franchise has not continued.
No.
This one has.
Yes.
So I wonder if Rob Bottin, the legendary recluse makeup effects guy who designed those amazing masks that are in this movie, I wonder if he also did this makeup as well.
I believe so.
I know there's a part coming up after they finish this part where Cruise rips off his face, but it didn't it's not a clean rip.
Yeah.
And I always wonder if they wanted it to be a clean rip, but they couldn't get it to happen.
Yeah, this is definitely Rob Bottin here.
There's a part where he just rips his ear off. It'll come up in a bit, but you think Rob Bottin did this as well?
Yeah.
Because remember, we're talking to Barney Berman. It was there was someone else. It was
did
Michelle
prosthetic,
Burke who did the prosthetic stuff.
No, I think this was all Bottin, I think. Do we think that Emilio Estevez's earring is real? Did he have one, or is it part of his character?
Maybe.
Have you ever advised anyone on what earrings they should wear or not wear?
I mean, I think that the costume designer will be showing
hands
options, and I'll pick an option if there's something that's that specific. But I'm not micromanaging
right
that kind of stuff. I've also not I mean, I think it's more like if I see something I don't like,
Yeah.
then I'm like,
right.
can we see some other options? There's also this interesting workplace romance going on between Kristen Scott Thomas and Emilio Estevez, and it comes across as borderline inappropriate.
I love that. I love going... Anytime you go through a wall,
yes, this is so De Palma also. Yeah, going through the walls. But there's this little runner between Emilio and Kristen Scott Thomas where they have kind of a romance, and it's like maybe Emilio's...
pushing it too far.
It seems like he's like pushing, but then she makes a comment later where she says he's got a cute ass or whatever. I think it's welcome.
Yeah. I think they probably have something to do. I mean, we've talked about how these movies have become sort of sexless.
Yes.
But I would imagine, like, you're on a mission, you get lonely, something has happened.
There have not been too many inter-team romances.
No.
But there was Paula Patton and...
Josh
Holloway in Ghost Protocol, which ended tragically, as we know. And then there is now... I'm hoping Ilsa will be on the IMF team. And
Still not on the team, yeah.
But
I'm
hoping they'll do a big reveal of Ilsa.
This is amazing because it goes through the wall and cranes up.
Yeah, cranes up with the elevator, get Emilio on top.
Yeah.
And then you also get it's like a manual split screen through the set where then you also see Galitzin waiting for the elevator. I mean, this sequence is just...
It's a tour de force.
Awesome. I love these ceilings too. It's got to be a set, I'm sure. But
inspired
the rounded ceilings, they're just so cool. Those brick, I mean, he's doing low angle, Dutch angle stuff. It's just awesome. This is, I'm just, it's just so good. You get pulled into it. Yeah. You also see like the anamorphic lens flares. You'll see these lens flares that kind of are like horizontal lines almost through the frame. So you see like Emilio Estevez's pen lights that he's got on his glasses. Mm-hmm. You'll see these little like horizontal lines that come out of the lights. They're like little lens flares. They're beautiful. I love those anamorphic lens flares.
And that's because
so cool looking.
It's a spherical lens as it gets smashed.
It gets crushed down. Yeah, and then it creates this horizontal, which like someone like David Fincher does not shoot anamorphic because he wants the control. He wants to control every bit. Anamorphic kind of does a warping thing.
Yeah.
But if you notice in Fincher's movies, they have those horizontal line lens flares because he adds them in post.
Right. Yeah.
So here's that mask, ready? He just pulls the ear off. I always wondered, do you think they wanted to pull the mask off the way that he pulled off the one at the beginning and they couldn't get it to work?
I think they wanted options on that. And I don't think the one at the beginning was real. Because there's a digital morph in there.
You think so?
Yeah.
The first one?
Yeah.
It's so seamless.
Yeah. The
one at the end you can tell it's digital when it's John Voight's face.
Because he kind of pulls it,
one at the beginning
it's too long, yeah.
The one at the beginning.
So I think this is the only practical mask pull.
In this movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great too. The Dutch angle and then like pulling back fast. I love that from the Galitzin pushing the button on the elevator. The
like red like line that goes up the button too when they're pushing. That's so cool.
That's great. It's great that they were smart to not over explain technology. In this. They could have gotten bogged down in explaining, this does this and this is what you have to do. They just trust the audience to know what those things are. When that button goes up and lights that way, it's scanning their fingerprint. Oh boy, so here we go. This is Emilio's. We're going to say goodbye to Emilio here. So this is the question. People bring this up, and so you see those lens flares there, all those horizontal lines. These spikes that come out, was that something that was planted by I love this. So you see his face get impaled.
Yeah.
And boom. Oh!
Was this the same summer that...
Did he install those spikes? Or is that just part of the elevator technology that just...
I think it's part of
how the elevator
defense.
Receives...
I don't know what that is.
It's just... But I love it.
It's very De Palma.
These profile shots of John Voight. They seem very... And Tarantino is such a big fan of De Palma.
Right.
They look very Tarantino-esque to me, which would, obviously... I love the way that he knocks over this chair. I don't know why I'm obsessed with it. But it was either planned or they liked it. Because later, when Cruise gets to the apartment, he picks up the chair.
Right.
So, they kept track of it. They were like, all right, that chair fell over. When Hunt gets back, he's going to pick it up. I don't know if that was planned.
Another team?
There's the other IMF team.
There were a lot of good head crushing in the 90s. Speed has a lot of head crushing and impalements.
That's right.
Very mainstream.
Mainstream decapitations.
Yeah.
Look at how I remember in our making of the first, they had to light up all these buildings back there.
Oh,
they spent all this money and time and everything lighting up. So all these buildings across on the other side of the river. Look at that. I mean, just this is so great too. Just this geography. It cuts back wide, cuts back again wide, and then you pan over to the bridge.
Listen, these movies are a pain in the ass, but there's nothing else that looks quite like them, and especially this movie.
I love the way that sets up the geography. It's just like where you know where the bridge is, you know where they are in relation to that bridge. It's so great. I wish I could go back and watch this movie for the first time. I've probably seen it like 25 times now or something. And it's like, I think about this moment here, like buying into the idea that Jim Phelps is on the run and someone's killing them off. And
well, I just rewatched De Palma a little while ago. And
the documentary?
Yes, the wonderful documentary.
Yeah.
And he said, it was this question of like, okay, you've got Tom Cruise in a Mission Impossible movie. So it needs to be a Tom Cruise movie. How do we do it?
Right.
Kill off the team. So, De
Palma,
that's
so good.
Took to that, I think, with a lot of flair.
And they go for it because it's a team of 6 at the beginning here.
All right, that's it.
So that's a preview. If you want the
whole
thing,
all you get.
If you want the whole thing, you got to sign up for our Patreon at the Mission Commander level or higher. And you can get our full commentary if that was any quality, if you thought that was any good at all. Hopefully it was. So that's at patreon.com/lightthefuse.
Yeah.
Go there, and that's where you can get it. And or again, if you don't want to commit to giving us money every month, you also probably could just sign up for 1 month and then cancel, is my guess. But
don't do that.
But shirts, get a shirt. Then you can wear it forever.
Yeah.
And it's a one-time buy. And it helps us.
It
throws us a few bucks. That helps us. Everything helps.
Do you have to do this thing again?
So this is the last one, I promise. But I got to do an ad for Endless Podcast. This is the very last one. I'm so sorry.
God.
I want to tell you about another filmmaking podcast called Just Shoot It. It's hosted by 2 incredibly knowledgeable, charismatic, just magnetic directors that I can only aspire to emulate one day. It's not a lie to say that most of what I personally know. I wish you could see Drew's face right now. It's not a lie to say that. It's not a lie to say that most of what I personally know about directing is from Matt and Oren's podcast, Just Shoot It. And please ignore all other podcasts, especially Light the Fuse and Making Movies is Hard, a podcast about the everyday struggles of independent film, or Respect the Process, a podcast about commercial directing hosted by a commercial director. Just Shoot It covers literally everything those podcasts cover, and then some. If you care about the craft and business of filmmaking, from how to sell projects to casting actors to designing the perfect shot list, Just Shoot It covers it all. So stop listening to this podcast right now, type in Just Shoot It into your podcast app, and get ready to have your filmmaking mind blown. They do have a lot of great guests that they have on.
Have you been a guest?
I was a guest on a very early episode, which is still available. I think it was from 4 years ago.
Were you like, oh, I can't wait to make a movie?
It was right after I made Night Owls, but it was before we had our distribution deal with Orion. So we were sort of talking around our distribution deal because it wasn't completely official yet.
Oh, but we had started it?
We had played at South by Southwest.
I was there.
And you were at South by.
Yes.
Yes, that's right. You used to go to South by every year.
I used to. Times are tough.
But so my co-writer, Seth Goldsmith, and I are on Just Shoot It, and we talk about our movie Night Owls. So it's a good episode worth checking out. And then maybe you'll love the show and you'll want to subscribe.
And you'll want to check out Night Owls.
Yeah, check out
Where is
Night
it
Owls.
now?
Night Owls it's supposed to go on Amazon Prime soon, but it still hasn't happened. We're waiting for that. It's on Amazon proper. You can rent it on Amazon for a few bucks.
Vudu.
You can rent it on Vudu. You can rent it on iTunes. I'm not sure exactly where it is internationally, but I'm sure it's in services like those or even those, I think. And it's not on Netflix anymore, unfortunately. It had a 2-year run on Netflix, and that is over. But, that's the way it goes. Now, hopefully, it'll be on Amazon Prime soon. But there's our ad for Just Shoot It.
Now we have to thank the actual people that make this show possible.
Yes. This episode is brought to you by Jeremy Dillon, and it was mixed by Luke Burson. And thank you guys so much for making this podcast possible. And
next week.
Next week we start Music Month. We have
you have to tell us how annoyed Jeremy was by this whole process.
You think Jeremy was annoyed by us?
I think he might.
So we have a big interview with Jeremy Dillon from his podcast,
It's our first real crossover.
It's our first crossover episode. It's all month. Next month, it's all about the music. We play clips of all the different scores.
Come get us.
And all the, from even the old shows too. And we break down, we talk about everything and our thoughts on all the music through the whole series, through the decades. So it's epic. It's a 4-part.
What is Jeremy's podcast called?
Jeremy's podcast is called My Favorite Album.
And this is the longest episode he's ever done.
It was the longest episode he ever did, and we are going to break it up into 4. Even if you've listened to his podcast, still check out ours because we're going to have intros and outros where we add a little bit of spice.
Yes.
We talk a little bit more about things, and our podcast is the way to go.
Yeah. I mean, he's great.
No, you should subscribe to My Favorite Album. He's had great people on there, too.
Yeah.
Brian Koppelman and Drew Pierce and a lot of music people who are talking about their favorite albums. It's all music podcast.
I've been messaging with Drew Pierce on Instagram. He's not coming on the show, but...
We'll keep trying.
Guy. Yeah, we're going to keep trying.
We'll try to get Drew Pierce. He obviously was I don't know if he's a credited writer. I think he's story credit on Rogue Nation.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it for this week.
All right. See you next week.
Thanks again for listening, everyone. And before we go, another mission, should you choose to accept it. Please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. And remember that you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at LightTheFusePod and email us questions or comments at lightthefusepodcasts@gmail.com. If you'd like to watch the original Mission Impossible television show, all 7 seasons are currently available to stream on Amazon Prime. This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds.